Hello and welcome to Tom and Elliot in your house, but not literally. I'm Elliot.
I'm Tom.
And today we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Danny Humby.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me.
Play the jingle!
Tom and Elliot in your house. Tom and Elliot in your house. Tom and Elliot in your house.
And since we have a very special guest on the show with us today, we thought we'd do a little bit of a deep dive into who or what is Danny Humby. Do you want to give a little intro for listeners who might not know who you are?
Where do you want me to start?
I don't know. When did your life get interesting, Danny?
Conception.
1998. It was a great night for my parents. Is that a weird joke to make? I think so.
Was it a long labour? Or...
This is quality material. I'm so glad I'm on this podcast.
You signed up for.
So I'm the station manager of Radio Sonar, Solent University's student radio station. I'm also the current South Regional Officer for the SRA. For now.
Although by the time this podcast's out, who knows?
Oh yeah.
Who knows what
is this where what I'll do is I'll record a bit being like, yes, I fucking won, and then I'll do a bit where I'm like, I can't believe I've lost.
Yeah. Do you
and then you
just
just pick and choose. No,
yeah.
I don't actually want to do that because that'll come across so arrogant either way.
Okay, so you're quite heavily involved in student radio and stuff like that. When did you start? What drew you to radio?
I started a film show with my friend about halfway through first year, called The Real Deal. Which
and is that real spelt with two E's?
Two
like
E's,
a film reel.
Yeah. So originally, so I do film and TV, and one of the thanks guys. One of the modules we had to do was like a TV studio thing, and we did a game show which was The Real Deal, which I hosted, and then from there it became a radio show. I did that show till the end of second year. Well, more like halfway through second year. And since I did a breakfast show where we found out people's dream breakfast buffet items, which has now become like a running thing between poached or scrambled egg.
I've seen that.
Yeah, the classic. Yeah. And then
you got Dick and Dom involved, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you actually?
They prefer poached.
For
the people wondering.
Or did you get them on the show, or did you just at them on Twitter?
I added them on Twitter. It was an attempt to get them on the show, but it just became a thing where people from Sonar would be like, "Go on, Dick and Dom, just give them some attention." And then 3 weeks later, I just got a notification, and it just said "poached." It's one of 5 tweets I've ever liked on Twitter. And then this year, I did a music-y, more entertainment show with my best mate Ollie called the Wow Wow Wee Wah Show. But it mainly just ended up us talking about poo, so it wasn't really a music show. It's more like a poo spectacle, I'd like to call it.
So would you say your role as station manager has ensured that you're allowed to do these shows?
Yeah. I would say that I give myself more flexibility that other people might not have on their show. But because I got elected April last year, and until the February just before that, I wasn't that bothered about radio. I literally did the show to mess around with my mate. I didn't go to any socials. I wasn't involved with SRA on any level. And then I did the chart show around Feb time. And it sort of snowballed from there. And now, it's just really out of hand.
That's really funny. I had no idea that you were kind of one of those just for fun.
Yeah.
Members.
So this is the thing that I always try to push to the SRA. It's fun. The fun stuff is important because I turned up at SRA Con, having just been elected station manager, which for the people not listening is the student radio conference of the year. Yeah. And I knew nothing about SRA, and I knew nothing about student radio. I didn't know anyone, and I felt so out of my depth. And I'm sitting there looking at all these other stations going, wow, these guys seem well chuffed and proud of their station, and there's 3 people from Sonar here, and we all just I'm not happy with where we are, just in general, not even as a station, just we don't know how we've ended up at this conference. And from there, we had a decent year at Sonar, so it's all got out of hand. Sonar's had a good year this year, and I've worked hard, so I'm proud. I'm happy with it. The SRA, so like I often chat with the officers, and they always talk about radio just in general, and how they obviously all know a lot. And the thing for me is that I don't listen to any form of radio. Like I just don't
me
care.
either.
So like they're talking about these people, and I'm like, I don't know who they are. And and they're like, but surely, like you're so into student radio, like you do such a good job. Surely you know. And I'm like, I don't know anything about radio.
So that's where I sit. I don't think I've properly listened to radio since I was about 13, right? And I used to listen to the Scott Mills show every day, but then I couldn't listen every day because I was at school. So what I did was I downloaded the Scott Mills podcast every day, and I listened to that every day. And then I just stopped listening to Scott Mills, and I just started listening to podcasts instead. So I don't think I've listened to proper radio in like 7 or 8 years.
There's just never a time where I feel like I want to sit down and listen to radio, which is bad for someone that obviously does radio and expects people to sit down and listen to me doing radio. But you know,
I think the future of radio is podcasting, right? Because if you want to listen to music, you know the music you want to listen to, and you'll listen to Spotify. If you want to listen to people dick about on air, you'll listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
Because you can choose your timings rather than tuning in midway through a segment. But like, yeah, I did find some of the talks at the conference. I don't know whether we should be saying this, but I did find some of those talks at the conference last year irrelevant. Like, to me, like this, I don't really care much about chart shows and stuff like that, and that's fine that people do. But like, I was sat in this.
Is that because of certain presenters? Do you reckon?
No, you know what I'm saying. This Will Manning. Okay? I was sat.
No comment.
In that lecture for 45 minutes, watching Will Manning and a room of like hundreds of people fawn over this man that I had literally never heard of in my life. It was the most insufferable 45 minutes of my life.
But that's how that's how I imagine. Like as station manager, like there's times where I've spoken to like all of the members, like the freshers talk and all this time. And the freshers talk this year, I spoke for like 30-40 minutes straight, and I'm sat there thinking, am I as bad as these people that I disliked months priorly?
Maybe I've been the Will Manning all along.
Oh no.
All right, well, should we let's get away from me saying things that might jeopardise my radio career and get more into your life. So you've got a shelf behind you, haven't you? Do you want to talk about the shelf?
Yeah, so we were talking about this just before we started recording. I've got a shelf in my bedroom that's got a sort of an array of Danny Humby
memorabilia.
I would say it's like my Horcruxes. That would be my like analogy. It's like the things that have defined who I am. Like if I was to go back and try to make myself immortal, I would use these objects to make that a thing. So we got an interesting array of stuff. I don't know how to. I don't really know how to explain it. I don't want to come across as like I'm stuck in the past. I've got a gnome, a Bayern Munich duck, a pair of drumsticks. Yeah, some nice.
Are there any stories which leap out to you from that shelf? Because we all keep little memorabilia which remind us of times in our lives, right? Are there any good stories there?
I would say, I mean, there's the drumsticks that my year 11 girlfriend got me. They say "I love you" from Christine on them. That's quite nice.
Cute, very cute.
Do
you used to play the drums then?
Yeah.
Do you still play?
I mean, like I could play drums. Like I don't regularly play. Like I feel like drums is one of those instruments that it's hard to forget the basic stuff. You know what I mean?
Hit it, isn't it? You just
yeah, he literally hit it. So I've got those drumsticks. They're good. I think one of them was like broken at one point, and it got glued back together because I was so upset about it.
Did you break the drumsticks whilst playing? Because I take that's quite a difficult thing to do.
I don't think it is though, is it? I feel like rockers do it all the time, don't they?
Really? So I have a mate who plays drums, and he's played drums for probably close to 10 years now. And he was filming himself the first time he ever broke a drumstick, which was recently. So maybe he's just a bad drummer. Maybe he's just not. I
think it's more likely that I'm the bad drummer. So they're there. They're cute. They're lovely. I like to look at them.
Cute.
If you're listening, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I feel like I am friends with her. So if I share this podcast, there's a chance she might listen, so I'm just going to play it safe. You're going to cut it out. You're going to cut it out and leave the bits where I'm being nice about her and just mug me off, aren't you?
Yeah, she's never going to hear that nice stuff. If you're listening, Kirsty, please get in touch. We want to hear everything.
I've got the name badge from when I did the backstage interviews at the GB Pantomime Awards.
The what?
The Great British Pantomime Awards, celebrating panto.
Is that a thing?
Pantomime.
Yeah. So it's like the third year now. I did the backstage interviews there.
How did you get to do that?
Well, I'm well-established panto man, obviously. I heard.
What's your favourite panto you've ever seen?
As in, like, what would be the favourite, like, production, or like, if I had to say, like, which one's better, Aladdin or Jack and the Beanstalk? You know what I mean?
No, like the specific production that you've seen.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I've seen a lot. I just love Christmas, apparently. Christmas and sing-alongs and bench scenes, all the classics. But
so when did the Pantomime Awards get started?
About 2 years ago. No. Yeah. So it would have been its third year this year if it had gone ahead, but it went online.
Were you going to present this year as well?
I was going to do backstage interviews, yeah. So last year I spoke to Duke from Tracy Beaker. That was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Robert Lindsay, the main guy from My Family.
Yes, from My Family. Yeah. Oh, that's it.
And then
is Tim Vine there a lot?
Yeah. Tim Vine's been there, but he's not won anything. So like, I only spoke to people when they won. You know what I mean? I don't bother with the nominees. It's baby time. Who else have I spoken to? Paul Chuckle, I spoke to in the first year.
No way.
That's legend.
What guy? So yeah, that's a really interesting thing that's on my shelf. I know that I know what stories you wanted me to tell, which is why I asked you. Yeah, there's a couple of like photo booth photos from like ex-girlfriends' proms.
Okay.
How'd they turn out?
Yeah, well, yeah, solid.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, great night.
Just your bog standard proms. Basically,
she was at a different school, and I actually no, because if she does listen, I can clear the air because I still feel bad about it. And she was at a different school, and it was my school's sports day, the day of her prom.
Okay.
And because you know what I mean, I'd like to think I've matured a lot since upper sixth, since 2 weeks ago. No,
as it would be.
And I ended up outside like most of the day and just not really paying attention to A, drinking water, or B, staying in the shade, and just got a little bit sunstroked and turned up to her prom. The first time I was would have met her friends or anyone, and was just not well. And I just kept on having to go outside to like get air, and I just wasn't good company. And I feel so bad. Like, I regret it. I think about it all the time. It's such a dumb thing to do. And I ended up actually bumping into her at Marks and Spencer's last year. And that was a pretty painful interaction because it was the first time I'd seen her since the prom. But I like to think
that was it. She just you just ended it after the prom because of the sunstroke.
It ended not long after the prom. I can't comment whether it was as a direct result of prom, but the thought process is there.
See, in my head, I was picturing that you were dumped at the prom.
No, it was her prom. Why would she dump me at her prom? You know what I mean?
Drama, innit?
Yeah, funny though.
Funny.
It was. I enjoyed the prom, and like I got a cactus. They had like little cactuses on the table, and I looked after that cactus for a good 2 years afterwards. So like, I don't want you guys to think that I'm horrid, but it just didn't go well. Okay. The heat was a lot.
Mm. No,
I don't think I was as apologetic as I could have been at the time. You know what I mean? It sort of sat on my soul, on my chest for like the last 4 years now. I wake up in the middle of the night in sweats, being like, "Oh God, not prom again!" Yeah, that was an interesting prom. What else is up there? McDonald's toy from when I was seeing someone, the most recent person I was seeing when we went to.
Which toy is it?
It's a little Pokeball thing that you can like fire the little discs out of. So this was like January time.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are the defining features. You know, I mean, they keep me humble because, for example, no, I don't know if I feel comfortable. I don't know if I feel comfortable telling that story. Basically,
No, you might as well.
Basically, my
You started
housemate, two of my housemates are now a couple, and they went to Barcelona on a nice holiday together, and they brought me back a little heart-shaped keyring. So for the whole of this year, I've had this heart keyring on my keys, despite the fact that I've fallen out with them. Well, I think we're all right now, but I had sort of fell out with them. But because it just, you know what I mean, you got to keep yourself humble. You look at it, you get your keys out, you're thinking, you got to remember.
Yeah, if you get too happy sometimes, you got to kick yourself down a little bit.
Yeah. I open the door, I'm like, I'm like, I've had a great day, and I'm like, could be better.
Actually, wait.
Yeah. I feel like this podcast is going to turn into me like sort of hoping to rekindle friendships with so many people. Is this therapy?
Yeah, it's Danny Humby. This is your life. Reconciliation. You know, like.
No, I think it, like, you know, jokes aside, I think it's important that, like, when you make these mistakes and you do the silly things in the past, that you do grow from them. And I like to think that I've grown from all these scenarios where maybe I wasn't the best. So you know, you're going to cut this bit out again, aren't you? You're just going to. How badly am I going to come out of this podcast?
No, like in all seriousness though, I don't know. Maybe it's just just silence of isolation that I've been experiencing. But like, I've been thinking back quite a bit to a lot of sort of cringeworthy moments in my life that I think back to, and I'm like, fuck's sake.
There's a surprising amount that come up when you really think about it. It's just like, I've done a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Because I lie in bed and think about the stupid things I've done, and direct opposite my bed is the cardboard cutout of myself. So that's the easiest reminder you can get.
You're a real humble guy. But it's but I think the very fact that you can look back and appreciate that it wasn't a great thing to do, or that you cringe about it or whatever, that speaks to the fact that you have changed and grown as a person to understand that behaviour wasn't right, you know?
Yeah. I'm sure there's some philosophy there. Tom, come on.
Yeah.
Don't
put this on me. Just because I study it doesn't mean I have the answer.
Is that not how it works?
Nah, unfortunately not. We've got another year to go. Maybe I'll come back. Come back next year.
End of next year, I'll be like, I've got it. I understand it all now.
Can't wait for the follow-up podcast.
Danny Humby too.
The year reunion.
Hey, I'm happy for it. I'll be there.
So, during your time as student radio, then, I garner that features are a thing that you're quite good at coming up with. So I'm going to ask you now to come up with a feature for the Tom and Elliot in your house, but not literally podcast. That we can do here and now.
As in you want me to come up with a feature for you guys in the future, or
no,
you
for
want
right
to
now that we can do now.
For right now,
yeah. Because you know we've come up with some good features on this show already. Okay,
I'm a big fan of that. I love the show. No.
Look, the jingle. There was the motorway service station review. There was the film pitches. If we're
doing motorway reviews, I have to say that the M6 toll area is my favourite of motorways in the UK.
Oh really?
If we're throwing things out there, that's what I would say.
M6 toll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, obviously the M6 is obviously the whole motorway, but I specifically love the area of the M6 toll.
Okay.
M6
toll. I'll bear that in mind.
Just in case you're
slightly
interested.
north of Birmingham.
Yeah.
There's a website for it.
Yeah, well, it's a highly regarded toll. But from a feature point of view, I wouldn't say that features are a big part. I just the way my logic with student radio is like the stuff I want to create is stuff that I would bother to listen to, and as I've established, I don't really listen to much radio, so it would have to be something that I would find entertaining, which as I explained is mainly poo jokes. So that's the poo features.
All right, let's crack on with that then. See what happens.
The funniest poo story I heard on my show is my mate Jack Smith came on and talked about. I still to this day don't know if it's true, because this guy, you know, it could go either way. He was talking about when he was at school, he was eating his packed lunch, and he's like a clean-shaven man, and he claimed that a bird pooed on him, and it sort of slipped off his head into his food.
So his head he shaves his head, you mean?
Yeah. So
and
I think
a bird...
on him, and then it sort of slid off into his food. So that's the greatest poo story I've heard.
How slippery would your head have to be? Surely he's got to polish that head as well.
The question, it could also depend on like how solid the bird poo was.
That's true. That's very true.
See, this is the thing. People are like, haha, oh, poo is such a childish topic, but it just segues into so many different avenues.
There are a lot of different routes to go down here.
I think my favourite discussion I've had about it makes it sound like I'm coming across so weirdly on this podcast, so I'm completely okay with it. Do you guys think that if poo was a different colour, would brown be more popular?
No. Brown's already quite a popular colour, though, isn't it?
Is it?
I mean, it was the colour of most clothing, and like.
I feel like if Cowboys hadn't pulled through, brown would just be down the drain.
That's
that's my hot take.
I appreciate the pun there. Down the drain, I like it.
I hope you're maybe. Whoa! Let's just rewind. I hope you're not pooing in drains.
Look, what I do on my weekends, Mr. Humby. Okay, it's none of your business.
Fair enough. I don't know. I don't particularly associate brown with poo. Yeah, but it's like a subconscious thing, isn't it? From back in the day, like that's how it might have started. That's how I view it anyway. But on a more, let's talk. I don't want to come across not cool from this podcast, guys.
Right. Yeah.
I know you've got a lot of cool listeners. I wouldn't want to ruin my sort of
reputation,
street cred. Yeah. So the two main features from my film show were the Dwayne game, where we tried to get our guests to create a Dwayne Johnson feature film based off a series of options, or Danny's Treehouse, which it evolved multiple times over the years. Did we tried to play it when you came on the 24 hour?
Yeah, but I feel like you guys were in a bit of a fever state.
Yeah, 12 hours in, not the most solid. This is a game that I've played. I used to really enjoy, and then one time I was very lucky enough to interview Greg Dyke, who used to run the BBC.
Christ, okay.
And I thought it'd be a good time to try and get him to play that game. And he just he just didn't sound too impressed by it, and I thought, if it's not good enough for him, if it's not good enough for the BBC, it's not good enough for me. So I've just stopped playing it.
We've already heard my opinions about broadcast radio. So, how about you explain? Danny's Treehouse?
So, I have a treehouse in my garden.
Okay.
I mean, I don't, but for the concept of this podcast, I now do. And something that I'm really keen to do is start a gang for this treehouse. I feel like all good treehouses have a gang that's associated with it.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's important for me to have, now, because I'm guessing on your podcast, you've let me in on your podcast. I've got to let you into my treehouse gang.
Thank you. That's only fair, isn't it? Yeah, thank you.
No worries. But as part of the sort of like deciding, like letting you in, you both have to bring in one person from the world of film and TV that you would also want to be in the gang.
Okay.
So who are you thinking? I want to make it clear.
Just anyone. No reasoning behind it. Just
I want to make it clear. Well, they don't have to be alive. That's something that we made clear. We established early on, and they don't have to be real. Like it doesn't have to be like actor actress. It could just be a character.
Okay. And so anyone from film or TV.
Yeah. So you literally have a lot of people to choose from.
Yeah, it's a big list.
So take your time. Yeah,
all right. No, I've already got mine. It's Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
Good one.
Because I think Stephen Fry is not only the most interesting man in the world. Like I think you could talk to Stephen Fry about anything.
You just think he'd be a good gang member.
Yeah. Well, he's got a very calming voice. So I feel like when we get into gang warfare, he'd be able to diffuse the situation.
Treehouse gang warfare. Yeah.
When we start firing slingshots at rival treehouses, he can be the one to come in and be like, "Boys, girls, let's behave and calm down."
I actually thought Stephen Fry was there then for a second.
Oh no, it was. That was him.
Didn't.
Tom, who are you thinking?
See, I was going to go with Jeremy Clarkson. That was the guy who first came to me. But then, going off Elliot's reasoning of good gang member, personality, I probably don't think he would fit in that well.
See, the thing is that like I always had Danny's Treehouse, my gang, as quite a light-hearted group of comrades.
Okay.
But you guys have immediately gone down. Well, Elliot,
Stephen
Tom,
Fry's pretty.
You've immediately gone. Who would do well in gang warfare? I'm surprised Tom's not going to say like Ghost from Modern Warfare 2 or like Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne.
But Jason Bourne, but only in the Bourne film where he doesn't say anything.
Yeah. Well, so I think
silent participant.
I think Jeremy Clarkson and Stephen Fry would be like a yin and yang energy.
They are. Aren't they
Jeremy
like good pals in real life?
Yeah, Jeremy being like a loud, brash, like, hey, for the boys,
I don't think has Clarkson ever said for the boys?
Probably. He said a lot of things.
My favourite episode was when him, Hammond, and May were going across the Sahara, and he was like, "For the boys!" out the window.
He's also up for a prank or two. Is Jeremy Clarkson?
That is true. That is a vital part of the Danny's Treehouse gang.
Absolutely. But yeah, and I think Stephen Fry is like the opposite energy of Jeremy Clarkson.
So is that the ones you're going for? Because I've got follow-up questions.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Stephen Fry.
Yeah, I'll lock in Jeremy Clarkson as well. Yeah.
So obviously, the treehouse is quite a large treehouse. I imagine the treehouse to be... It's like the codename Kids Next Door treehouse back from Cartoon Network days.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like everyone's got their own room, and it's just like... just expands. And... obviously, if we're letting Stephen Fry and Jeremy Clarkson in, they need their own rooms. So I'm just wondering what sort of treehouse design. I like to imagine that Clarkson's got one of those car beds.
Yeah, definitely.
But are there any other features of the houses, of the rooms for these people that you guys would, be interested in? I'll let the builders know.
So I reckon I can jump in first, and I reckon. Stephen Fry's got to have a lot of bookcases.
Nice.
Because he loves his books, as well as he'd be able to read us all bedtime stories.
I like to imagine that his looks like sort of like a forest cabin.
Yeah, maybe a fireplace in there. That's quite sophisticated. As well as, I think he's a board game man. I think he might have like
what board game would you imagine he plays?
So I think he plays like the elite board games. So not like Monopoly or Scrabble, but like I think he plays like Settlers of Catan or Risk or any of those big long board games.
That is a big boy game. It was my dad's birthday Thursday, and I got him Catan. So I'm glad that you've made that.
It's a good game.
The good game. You know what I mean? If you were like, really bad board games, Catan, and my dad listens in, and he's like, Danny's mugged me off.
He's done me here. But yeah, carpeted as well.
Really? Like, I imagine like a nice velvet carpet.
Yeah. I think he'd bring an air of sophistication to the treehouse.
And Tom, what are you thinking for Clarkson's?
Honestly, I've been trying to think what Jeremy Clarkson would like, and I cannot actually think of a single thing that would go in his treehouse. Apart from a car.
My main
race car bed.
My main thought of Jeremy Clarkson is always when it's like gets to A level results day, and there's that tweet that's like, I've got no A levels and I'm in Barbados on a boat. So I like to imagine that his treehouse is like, it's just his room. It just looks like a boat, but like the bed in it is just one of these cars.
Has he got Scale Electrics in his room?
Oh yeah, that's good. A lot of wine as well. He's a big wine fan.
Oh yeah,
just the finer things in life.
Do you think Scale Electrics and wine would be a good combo? I imagine it's quite lethal. You know what I mean? The Scale Electrics, they fly off quite a lot. I don't know why I felt like the hand movement would help the listeners.
What if you put the wine on like a higher up shelf and
Scale Electrics
minimises damage.
Scale Electrics is the only responsible way to drink drive.
Good. I'm glad that's what. Yeah.
I'm glad we've laid that down.
I'm glad that you've looked into the options and you've you make it sound like you've tried all the options and you thought, the one that was the safest for me.
First, I thought Dodgems, but can still get hurt, so I decided on Scale Electrics.
No, that seems only fair. And seeing as we've now, I'm going to let Bob know, and he'll get on the building, and we're going to. Now we've got them in.
I'm glad we've got Bob in the gang. He's a handy addition.
Tom looks
so
disappointed.
Is he a member of the gang, or is he just a contractor who comes in every now and then?
Tom, why did you look so disappointed when it clicked that I made a Bob the Builder joke? No, for the record, everyone's equal in the gang. So, no, I've not furloughed him or anything like that.
That's good.
But now we know who's joining. You obviously need a big welcome party to let in the gang, to let in the members of the gang.
Okay.
And obviously this is important because what I didn't tell you is that you guys have to share the room with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
We're not made of treehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeremy Clarkson's made of money, but
Yeah, he didn't do any A levels. To be fair,
No,
I don't know if he's ever mentioned it. We obviously need a welcome party, and obviously it's a film and TV related gang, so you need a film and TV related welcome party. And I'm wondering what's
Okay.
the theme for this party in your guys' eyes? And obviously every good party has party food. So
okay.
what would you say? And obviously there's strict rules, so the party food has to have a pun of a film thing. What are you thinking?
And is this a joint party for the both of them?
No, it's for both of you and both of them.
Okay.
But obviously all the other gang members are going to be there as well.
Are invited.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Wait, can we go? So we've got to throw a welcome party, and what the party's going to be, what the food's going to be, but it's all going to be tied up in one TV and film pun.
No. So the you can have whatever theme you want, but the party food has to have a pun. You know what I mean?
okay.
Like the actual. You know what I mean? It's like the most difficult thing to request someone in a live format. It was
Okay,
incredible
so-
because we did it for weeks and everyone would take ages to decide it. And then there was one time, I can't remember what the pun they made was, but someone just knew it. Like they just were like, "Yep, this is the pun I'd have," and it related, and it was incredible. Oh yeah. So someone had a Doctor Who related party where everyone have to dress up, but they only dress up in David Tennant related object, like fancy dress. And they decided that David Tennant was also going to host this party. They were going to bring him as a host. And I think that they decided that meant the party food was going to be the 10 nuts, like 10 nuts.
Oh, that's very clever.
Tom does not look impressed. I didn't say it had to be a clever
That's a little
pun.
bit of a stretch on that one.
Okay, I've got it.
I'm ready.
So, the party theme is going to be the film career of Jim Carrey.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay, because that gives everyone a huge variety of things to dress up in.
Right.
There's the Mask, there's the Grinch, there's Ace Ventura, loads of them. He's had a very extensive film
All
career.
three of them.
Dr. Eggman, he was Dr. Eggman
Yeah,
recently.
that's true.
And then the themed party food. I hope you're ready. I'm very pleased with this one. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, go on then.
Ace Tempura. So it's gonna be deep fried prawns, okay, Ace Tempura, in a little bowl with that written on the side.
Yeah, no, I like that, to be fair. That's
Right.
quite strong.
Now, how do I even follow that up? I haven't even got a single idea in mind.
Deviled Eggmans,
Nice.
because
There you go.
he's played Dr. Eggman.
Nice.
Are you going to try and keep going, or we just want to...
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Fries.
Nice. He's cracked it. He's cracked
Honestly,
the code.
I don't know why people were struggling. And all right, what's your contribution to this Jim Carrey themed party?
I mean, you could pick the party host if you want, Tom. It'd be a bit.
I was trying to think of my Jerry Clarkson ideas. Who would be a host for Jim Carrey? I can't remember. Who was the comedian he played? Have you seen that documentary of Jim Carrey that he did?
Jim Andy someone.
Andy
Serkis. Yeah, he loves
No.
his
Yeah, he
work
loves it.
in the Lord of the Rings. He loves it.
No, Andy.
Yeah, the comedian
something.
he played, and he believed he turned into him.
Yeah,
Andy Kaufman, yeah,
That's a
get him to
fantastic
host.
documentary film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
So there we have it. Bosh, easy party for Stephen Fry and Jeremy Clarkson. A Jim Carrey themed party with Ace Tempura, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Fries, and Deviled Eggmans.
And Andy Kaufman. And Andy Kaufman is hosting.
yeah, Andy Kaufman hosting.
Kaufman, yeah. Kaufman.
I'd say Kaufman, yeah.
That guy.
Andy Pandy from the.
But yeah, and on that note, thank you so much for joining us, Danny. It's been great fun.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you've been all right, I guess.
we?
Do you want to plug anything? We've not had a guest on yet, so I don't know if we should let you plug anything.
Yeah, like, what do we do in this situation?
Yeah, we're done now. Fuck off.
I don't really have anything to plug. I'm starting a podcast with Sam McGregor from Express Radio. He won Best Male at the SRAs last year. I'll start a podcast with him soon. We're just sort of like trial running it multiple times until we're happy with like how the format and stuff works. So like it'll be on the cards by the time this is out.
Awesome.
It's called Top Banana.
Top Banana.
Top Banana, where we discuss, we pick topics and then argue what's the top banana of that topic.
Cool, I like it. Where can they find? Where will that be?
Well, the Twitter account already exists, but you know we're still working on it.
Yeah, RSS feeds are a nightmare.
Other than that, you can just find me posting really rubbish stuff on the Radio Sonar Twitter account.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for joining us, Dammy. Dammy. I was so
Dammy,
close
nice
to doing a
one,
good
Dammy.
episode.
Danny.
Right, fuck it. I've been Elliot.
I've been Tom.
I've been Danny.
Danny, you've got it. Yeah, that's your turn.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening. If you want to see what else we're up to, check us out on Instagram at Jesting Dog Productions.
I love Jake Willis.